All right, we're talking today about another horror novel, and this is by Robert Essig. It's called The Circus Oasis, and I like to thank Encyclopocalypse for sending me out an early release copy. The Circus Oasis is about the reopening of the Circus Oasis, which is by the Salton Sea. And for those of you who don't know, the Salton Sea is a very polluted mass of water in Southern California. There was an attempt to make it the next big tourist attraction, like a new Palm Springs, but that fell through. The water's incredibly toxic and polluted. It has a high salt content. I couldn't tell you all of the science of it. That's not important. But it's an actual place. And some people actually still live near it, although don't drink the water. It is a place. And the Burkheads, our main characters, Father Micah, Mother Erin, and daughter Danny, are going to celebrate the reopening of the Big Top show at the Oasis, Circus Oasis Hotel. But not everything is what it seems. And do we have a little bit of a haunting because of a very sketchy past? You'll have to read for yourself. But I will say this. Circus Oasis is an interesting ghost story. It's really hard to write ghost stories, I think, at this point. Ghost stories were very popular a long time ago. You have The Woman in Black and stuff like that. Classic ghost stories are a been there, done that sort of thing. And in the modern era, it's really hard to write a ghost story and in my opinion, not have it be like The Shining. And that's what I was worried about going into this, is oh, we have a haunted hotel. Is it like The Overlook? Is the dad gonna go crazy? There's a little bit of The Shining in here, but it's not a ripoff of The Shining, which is good. I was a little worried about that. Because The Shining is one of the best modern ghost stories. I think that comes to mind when you think modern, sort of ghosts in a novel. You think of Stephen King's The Shining. And of course there's a history of animal mistreatment. I need to put that in here because I know some of you aren't going to want to read that. And it's rough. And that's the thing with any sort of ghost story. There has to be something heinous that happened in the past for there to be a haunting. But we have some things that are interesting in this. We have different, I'll call them interludes, but they aren't called interludes. Don't worry, it's not like Star Wars Aftermath where there's an interlude every other chapter. The book's broken into 3 parts, and each part we have this transient woman who has these tramp art boxes, these beautiful ornate boxes. They're her only possessions, and she's putting them into the Salton Sea, and crazy things start happening. But most of the people aren't seeing these crazy things. We have little Danny is seeing things, and a woman named Betty DeAnza who is testing the sea water to see if the pollution, since they're putting desalination plants in, is getting any better. That's getting depolluted. And they're seeing all sorts of weird, freaky things. Meanwhile, we have the Lazar family. And the Lazar family are a bunch of former carnies who ended up settling by the Salton Sea to open the Oasis, the Circus Oasis, back in the 70s. And then things went bad. And then things went really, really bad. And these people are not good people. Robert Essig makes that clear. These people, you don't need to feel bad for them. There's a couple of them that are a little more sympathetic, but in my opinion, they're all pretty deplorable. The worst of the Lazars is Granny Val, the matriarch. She's just sadistic and awful. I won't get into how sadistic, but there's some scenes in this that are a little much, and I want to bring that up into this review because there's a certain type of horror I don't like. And we bridged it a little bit in some of my previous Encyclopocalypse reviews. I don't like torture horror. I don't like Hostel. I really don't like Saw. I don't like that, or like the I Spit on Your Grave stuff. Like, I don't like sadistic torture. It's not scary to me, and it feels a little too exploitive. Even if you're a great author, this is going to it's not my thing. It doesn't scare me. It just grosses me out, and it irritates me. And especially after the post 9/11 horror, where it was like everyone's just being tortured because of Guantanamo Bay, we're torturing people. Like, it's done. We've been there. We're done with that. Like, it's not novel anymore, and like, I just don't care for that. And there's a few sequences in this, because like, there's a reason the animals are like haunting the hotel. And there's a lot of gross things with animals, and then some with people. Thankfully, Robert Essig doesn't really get into it too far, so you're okay there. But it's like really, why are we here? You know, it's too much, and it feels cheap. With that being said, the last few chapters are very, very satisfying, and if you're going to read the book, you're going to understand how I feel about that. And a lot of comeuppance happens. It goes crazy. We all know I love when horror books just end in just absolute chaos. We get our good chaos. I love chaos in horror. It just feels like that's how you're going to correct something. We get some good chaos. I won't say what, but it's some good stuff. Overall, what did I think of the Circus Oasis? I thought it was a fast-paced read. It's fairly short. I think it's under 200 pages. You could read this in like 2 days. You could even read it in one sitting. I got a lot of it read pretty much in one sitting. I think it's worth your time, with the caveat that some of it's just a little too much, and not in a good way. I give this about a 4 out of 5, I think. It's good, but some of the stuff that I found like negative with it, with there's some family drama in here that it's just like, that's okay. I didn't get super attached to that. Like, I didn't relate to it so much. It's a lot of, we've been there, we've done that. But overall, it's fine. It's a fine, fun read for most of it. It's a good modern ghost story. Once again, thanks to Encyclopocalypse for sending out an early release copy. If you want to pre-order this, the link will be down in the description. It comes out tomorrow for Kindle and physical copy. And I recommend you pick it up. But, like, horror's not always going to be comfortable, people. You know, you just got to accept that. Or don't accept that. Either or. Anyway, I'll be interviewing Robert Essig on Friday. I'm not sure what time just yet. But I'll be posting that later this week. We're going to have a fun chat about this. It'll be fun. I hope you guys enjoyed, and have a good one.